Yeah, you should hear me now. Put a one if you can hear me. Yes. I was saying, it's a wonderful time to be alive down here in this portal. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things said. But like this live says, how will the end of this world come? We forget the key ingredients to that question. The key ingredients to that question. And we're going to look at that today. We also have some we also have some unknown files to look at that is going to knock our socks off with information. The information is going to knock our socks off. Hope you're well today. Um, Lucy Bean, I hope you are well today. And I hope God is shining, beaming his light down on you today. Say a word of prayer, and then we'll get right into it. Most High God, the one that sits high above the firmament, I thank you for another day, a different day down here. And as I analyze this Bible, word for word, line upon line, toe to toe, help us to break this thing all the way down today. Help us to see what you want us to see, hear the things that we need to hear today. Let your will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Not my will, but your will. Come down, stand or sit with me. Spirit of truth, be here as we take this tour through this book. And forgive me for anything I've said, done today that wasn't pleasing your sight or any other time. But please, God, take control of this channel right now so that we could have a understanding and be wise as we move according to time. And I give you the praise and the glory. In Emmanuel's name I pray. Amen. So, um, let's look at Matthew 24. Let's see. Let's look at Matthew 24, and let's go to 1. Let's look at the main ingredients to how will the end of this world come. And we might have touched based on this uh, on this channel alone. I might have touched based on it a lot, but if we hear truth and we don't regurgitate it back to our communities, back to family, friends, co-workers, strangers, homeless, well, which be a stranger, but anybody we come in contact with, if we don't regurgitate this information and we see what's going on around us that is not truth, then what are we doing? Do we have a real appetite of being free? Do we have the appetite to be free? So let's look at this. 24:1 Matthew, and Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him. Um, Lucy Bean, the information is right here at the top if you'd like to join the panel. The information is here on the top. If you have a testimony or let the audience know what led you to this channel, because I noticed you've been on here a couple times, maybe more than a couple. And maybe God done something for you. That's what brought you back here. But I'll continue to read if you want to. The information is in the chat. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now, of course, I analyze this Bible as it has been written a long time ago. So I'm always analyzing the words of it to where it could pertain to me today, right? And it says in 3, the number 3 is dark in my Bible. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign, not signs? See, this is singular, not plural. Sign, S-I-G-N. S-I-G-N, of thy coming and of the end of the world. And there's a T at the W, meaning age. At the end of the age. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Let's look at 1 John 1. Let's look at 1 John chapter 4. Chapter 4, 1 through 3. And it says, When therefore the Lord knew how the disciples had heard that Jesus, when therefore the Lord knew how the disciples had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, then Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples. He left Judea and departed again unto Galilee. Now that's what it gave me, pertaining to. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Now there's another John in here. I'm going to look at that right quick and see how it starts off, because I see something. I just seen something and I want to share it. So let's see what this says. 1 John 4. I might be reading the wrong thing. 1 John 4. I think I'm on the right track now. But it says, Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits wherefore they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. So, according to the Bible, we are supposed to try spirits, right? when we meet someone or we having fellowship with a person, it's our duty to see what they're all about. That's our job, to see what they're all about. Verse 2, hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. Hereby ye know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Now, go right back to what we said before. This is written a long time ago. So a long time ago, they were teaching that the Antichrist, that spirit was already there. So where are we today in 2023? Now, what I saw here in the John that I was reading, the Gospel of John, going back to where it says, John 4:1, when therefore the Lord knew, when therefore the Lord, that's capital L, lowercase ord, knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John. Did you catch that? When therefore the Lord knew how the disciples, can't be talking about God, because God in the Old Testament is all capital letters, Lord, all capital. So we're taught that Jesus is Lord. So in John 4, chapter 4, verse 1, what Lord are they referring to? When therefore the Lord, capital L, lowercase ord, knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus, you see, made and baptized more disciples than John. Through Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples. See? You see why it's very important to read this thing out loud? So if Jesus is Lord, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, who is this referring to? Who is John, the writer, referring to the Lord is? Can't be talking about God, because God is all capital letters. Is anybody there? So, that was John, 1 John 4:1-3, talking about Antichrist. For many shall come, this is Matthew 24:5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So even there be people that, as we just read, if they say that he didn't walk in the, if you say that he didn't come in the flesh, that's the Antichrist. But if he did come into the flesh, that's the right spirit. So it's saying here, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So it's going to be, so back then, it was teaching that there's still going to be people in the earth proclaiming Jesus is who he is, and still somehow deceive a bunch of folk, right? Let's look at regular John. Let's look at the Gospel John, chapter 5. 5 and 43. Y'all know it's been 4 days. I get 4 days on, 4 days off. So it's been 4 days. So we ready to tear this thing up, you know. John 5 and 43 says, I am, this is in red. So Jesus says, when it's in red, I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. And that's what it gave me. John 5:23, off John 5 and 43, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and deceive many. Maybe that's because maybe that's because, you know, with power and money and things of that nature, you know, inhabitor, Earth's inhabitor tends to pick up their own momentum. They start out talking about Christ, but then as the journey gets longer and you get more and more attention, you know, you begin to pick up that Pope. You know, it's all about the inhabitor instead of the one who created the, you know, it gave you the mindset to do, you know, to go out and do it. Many shall come, right? But let's get down to the nitty gritty. How will the end of the world come? We forget about the key component. I'll continue to read. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet come. Now, so far, I'm gonna talk Bible, and you know I'm not gonna tiptoe around this. I haven't heard the word pray yet. They came, they said, when is the world going to end? What be the sign? Not signs, not plural, but singular. What will be the sign? Okay, so hold fast to that. Hold fast to that word sign. And we haven't seen him say pray yet, right? So then it says in 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. Let's look at Acts 11:28. I'm gonna get to my point here, but just hang tight so we can get down to the bottom of this thing. Acts 11:28, chapter 11, verse 28 says, and there stood up one of them called Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar. Now, why would that be there? Why would my Bible, which is a King James Bible, after this was said, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places, my Bible leads me to Acts chapter 11, verse 28. And it talks about, and there stood up one, Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass. Are we there? Are we there? Put it right here. I think we are waiting for. We're gonna hold. I'm gonna hold on. That's good. That's good. That's really good. I'm gonna continue to read Matthew 24. because this is what I've been hearing in my spirit these last uh, for a while now, because I've always referred back to Matthew 24 after my spirit man. Because see, I can read this sitting before you on this computer screen. I can read it to you, but what you seeing JB in the flesh. And we know what? The flesh profiteth a man nothing, because it knows where it's going back when all this ends. So it's the spirit man, right, that's actually reading this scripture to you, right? And has to go back and keep reading it because it's the renewal of the mind. And we have to share these things to our neighbors, community, friends, family, things of that nature, right? So here we go. Number 8 says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. But if we're listening to the Bible and not just JB, because I want you to hear the Bible. Bible teaches us in Acts 11:28 that what's stated in Matthew chapter 24, verse 7 came to pass in the book of Acts. We just seen that, right? If y'all, I hope you're reading your Bible with me. 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. How could we miss that? How can we miss that? These are things that we can see. These are things that we can see. Now, so we say, hey, Amber's truth. I've seen her on live reading that Bible out loud. Reading that Bible out loud. Keep on reading it. Keep on reading that Bible. Sharing it with the world. So here it sent me to Matthew 10 and 17. Matthew chapter 10, verse 17. Listen what it says. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read this information. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Then it tells me to go to Matthew 10 and 17. Matthew 10, 17. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. You say, JB, what does that mean actually? It means that it had already started. It had already started, right? So now we're gonna look at if you don't do anything, write the scripture down. Remember the scripture. Acts 5 and 40. Acts 5 and 40. Let's look at what it says. Acts 5 and 40. Acts chapter 5, verse 40. And to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Jesus, and let them go. Is anybody there? And I hope if we are there, we're in the spirit. Because that's the only way we're going to understand this Bible today, is in the spirit. So the spirit is teaching us what? That these things had already started occurring way before we got here. disciples are asking him, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus says, what? Then in verse 24, chapter 24, verse 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And I can jump right over here to the book of Acts. Acts chapter 5, verse 40. And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Jesus, and let them go. 41, I continue. 41 is dark. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. So we can't say that Jesus was talking like way down the road when he's saying these things to the disciples and they encountered the very actions. Now, don't you find that powerful? Don't you find that powerful? Now let's continue. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. Right? So let's look at this. Right here in Matthew, hold on to that word, offended. Well, Judas, unalived himself. So it's still 11 people. And that's a lot. 11 people to 11 to 1 is a lot, isn't it? Hold on just a second. Hold on to that word, offended. I thank y'all for stopping by. I know I didn't make an announcement that I'll be on today. So we look at Mark, because you can't. That's how the Bible's wrote. That's how it is. I mean, it's kind of scattered. But let's look at Mark. So if you held on to that word, offended. She's live on here. Sure, I don't let you know I'm reading it. I'm seeing you. Offended, yeah. Hold on to that word, offended. Now, what it say here in Mark 14:27? It says, and Jesus saith unto them, Jesus saith unto who? The disciples. Them, because Judas is still present. So it's still 12. It's 12 of them. And he says, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And then he go on to say, but after that I am risen, I will go before you in Galilee. But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet will not I. And Jesus saith unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this day, even in this night, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. But he spake the more vehemently, if I should die with thee, I will not deny thee in any wise. Likewise, also said they all. So going back, Jesus basically saying what he said here. He said, and then shall, Matthew 24:10, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. Judas betrayed him. And to a point, and to a degree, Peter showed hatred. When they said, ain't you one of them? Weren't you with him? And his denial, his, he cursed, he swore, right? That's hate, isn't it? I mean, if someone did it to us, wouldn't we call that hate? So two things happen. He's telling them exactly what's happening. So you got the two displays. You got Judas betraying him with the kiss that happened in Matthew and Mark, not Luke and not John. But then you got Peter showing hatred. I wasn't with him. I don't know him. Right? It all happened. It had already taken place. And many, Matthew 24:11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity, lawlessness shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, shall grow cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And the God and now this is what we've missed with all the commotion that goes on in the earth today. With the people saying they hear horns blowing, and I mean just a whole bunch of stuff being said over and over and over and over and over again. But I ask you today, do we remember what this is saying? And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So you say, well, JB, what are we? You say, JB, what? I mean, what are you saying? What's wrong? Well, for one, it's not talking about the whole Bible. It's talking about Matthew 24, and where he starts to say in 4, and Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. All the way from that to 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached. All of that right there. Once that right there has been preached into all the world, it's plain. I mean, that's plain. Oh, well, it can't be that simple. It's got to be more to it than just that. That's the only place in the Bible it says that. Let's look at 4:23. Matthew 4:23. Matthew 4:23. And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing all manner of sickness and manner of disease among the people. So, gospel of the kingdom. That's it right there. When this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Plain. Let's look at Romans 10:18. Romans 10:18. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words into the ends of the world. We've heard it. You and I, again today, we heard it. We heard Matthew 24, 4 and 4 through 14. The words. Let's look at Colossians. Let's look at Colossians 1 and 6. Chapter 1, verse 6. Which is common to you as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit, and it doeth also in you, since the day you heard of it, and knew the grace of God in truth. Also pertaining to Matthew 24, 1 through 14. And 23. If ye continue in the faith grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I am Paul, and made a minister. So Paul, in his time, he's saying that the kingdom has been preached to every creature under heaven. I'll read that again. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. I don't know how we missed that. Paul saying that the gospel has been preached. How do we miss that? So if the gospel has already been preached into under heaven, of course not to us because we weren't born. But Jesus is telling the disciples that once that part of Matthew 24, 4 through 14 was preached through all the world, the end will come. Paul just said in Colossians that the gospel had been preached throughout all the earth, every creature under heaven. I know you'll probably say, "Well, JB, you reaching." I know some would say if they ain't pick up their Bible, JB, it doesn't say that. JB, it doesn't say that. JB, you making it up. No, I'm not making it up. That's what it says. That's exactly what it says. Hello. That's exactly what it says. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And Paul says in Colossians, however we want to say it, he says this. He says, if ye continue in the faith, this is Colossians 1 and 23. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven. How do we miss that? How do we, how do we miss that? Jesus tells the disciples that once that gospel is being preached into all the world, the end will come. And what Paul say? Paul say that the gospel had been preached to every creature which is under heaven. See, I think it's a lot of commotion. Say what part? What part you want me to say again? I'm reading Bible. I'm not really saying anything. I'm just reading your Bible. I said Matthew 24 and 14, Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. What gospel? The gospel, Matthew 24, starting at verse 4, and Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. All the way to verse 14. But you go to Colossians 1 and 23. Oh, I did repeat it. Okay. Yeah, so what's really going on? Like, we got to come to a point in our lives where we got to come to an agreement. We have to come to an agreement. Because I showed you where these things started happening to the disciples when they was, like soon after they heard it. After Jesus talked to them and told them the thing that they should look for, it started happening to them kind of like immediately. You know? And to believe the Bible is to believe the Bible for what it says. And a tribe, the Bible talks of 12 tribes, right? And you look up the word tribe, a social division in a traditional society consisting of families or communities linked by social, economic, religious, or blood ties with a common culture and dialect, typically having a recognized leader. Indigenous Indian tribes. Ethnic group, people, race, nation, family, destiny, house, clan, sept, gen, folk. So basically, a tribe just not letting anybody, uh, just not gonna let anybody get in, right? And that's very important when we're talking Bible and talking about tribes, uh, and the way they moved in Bible time. In Bible writings. A tribe is not going to just let anybody in. That's something really to think about. I mean, that's like a very tight knit group. Now, it's very interesting. I want to continue to read where I was in the Old Testament, but um, and learn more about the mixed multitude that came in with the tribes, the men and children. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, I was thinking about that last couple of days. I didn't really look it up till today about the tribe. I tried. Um, then the thing about that is like there was 12 tribes, and like the head of the tribes was all related. Think about that. They was Jacob's sons. Jacob's 12 sons. And I mean, maybe you've already thought about this, and I'm just relating the old message. But Jacob's 12 sons. There's 12 tribes, but it's like it's like where was the unity at? Even though they was all family, pretty much all relatives. Don't you find that interesting? I do. I find it very, very interesting. But going back to Matthew 24, 1 through 14 says a whole lot. It says a whole lot. And then going through parts of the Bible and seeing all these things pretty much uh, had already took place way, even during the time of the disciples. You know, yeah, because it was division. It was division even in the tribes, and to know um, that they was from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but still, even in those tribes, they had difficulty believing in God. You say, well, JB, why you say that? You remember the ground swallowed some of them up, a lot of them up, during the time of Moses in the wilderness. A lot of them didn't believe, didn't care to believe. So basically, if we look at what's real, the Bible tells us that there was children and men, and it doesn't say anything. It doesn't give us any history on the mixed multitude that I've read so far on this channel. Um, so did they get swallowed? Did some of them get swallowed up? The men and children, because they didn't want to go on the side that was upright. That cube they walked around is not of the Most High. That cube. You have to come on up here and talk, elaborate with me on the cube, because I'm confused about what you're saying. Mecca, Mecca. Oh, well, she knew it. She broke it all the way. Truth, Angel's truth. She broke it all the way down. The cube. Okay. Dean is deep, and I like to get some more knowledge and information on what she knows. She come up on the channel. and drop some of that dialogue. But I'm just saying, when you start looking at words in the Bible and looking at the definitions of them, like I was taught to do as a younger person, um, it'll really knock your socks off to really understand. And because, like I said, a tribe is not just going to let anybody in. Just like supposedly when I went to the Grand Canyon, it was ran by the Q. Recently had biblical plagues invaded in it. I was when I was in Grand Canyon, we could see like tribal housing and stuff like that, but and we saw where quote unquote Indian were making jewelry and stuff of that nature, but yeah, allegedly. Um, but we didn't see, like, because they was like, you can't walk it by yourself, you can't go this place, you can't go that place, and I just thought that was real strange, because they was making it like it was, they was making it to be a very spooky, uh, making it more of a spooky event. Certain places you couldn't go by yourself. Yeah, very. It's spooky. Um, so just, let's absorb these words. And this is what I mean, this is the only thing I have to go by. I don't have nothing else. I don't want to go to the library for no information. This is all I have to go by. Um, and it tells me in Matthew 24 and 14 that and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So what I'm saying is, as a Bible reader, that I don't believe that there will be no end until Matthew 24, 1 through 14 has been really analyzed, has been really taught to uh, communities straight up for what it says. Then I believe we'll start seeing things that the Bible speaks of more. We'll see it in full force. Right? I believe we'll see it in full force, the full commission, not just, not this, because like I said too, and I want to stand firm on that, on this, the Bible is something that you have to purchase in a store. And there's all manner of inhabitants that owns a Bible. But it doesn't, it don't mean that every inhabitor that owns a Bible believe in the Bible, believe in what it says wholeheartedly. So information that's being put out sometimes is just, like I said, it could be profitable. Um, it could be said to steer someone in the wrong place. The holy city. Well, see all. Well, see. I mean, if we sticking with Bible now, we not just drifting if we're not just drifting to the right or to the left, if we just, I think it would be worldwide. Well, before I elaborate, I'm gonna just look at it. I know what the scripture is right here, Revelations 21. Now, like I said, you know, if we're in the flesh, there's always going to be a debate about, what we think, how it should be, and all that. But spiritually, if we just allow the spirit of truth to guide us and lead us, I believe he'll do just that. So, Bible teaches us this, right? This is all we got to go by. Without speculation, this is all we got to go by. And Revelation 21 says in verse 1, 21 in verse 1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Period. Right? That's it. That's all he say. I saw a new heaven and a new earth. It's not. It says, and holy Jerusalem will ascend. We are the lost tribes right here. What are you saying, Lucy? I don't know what you mean. Well, it says right here. I'm reading King James. That's all I have to go by, y'all. I'm sorry, but it says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Period. Now, if we want any more information on that, we go to Isaiah. New earth, right? We go to Isaiah. Can y'all hear me in this mic? Or do I need to use my other one? We go to Isaiah 65. 65 and 17. Isaiah 65 and 17. Okay. 65, 17. 17 is dark in my Bible. 65 and 17 is dark in my Bible. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah says this in Isaiah 65 and 17. Now, if we want to go a little bit deeper, we go to Isaiah 66 and verse 22. Isaiah 66 and verse 22 says, for as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. Okay. So so that's what it gave me on that. All I got to go by. Revelations 21 and 2 says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Now, it tells you more about the inside of it, but 4 wise is after it comes down, that's what it says. Coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned from her husband. Period. That's it. That's all I see. I think we are the lost tribes. That's why they hide so much stuff about who Israelites are. Salute to you, Amber's Truth. Salute to you. Spelling is fine. Spelling is fine. I can read it. Um, like, um, like the truth, we got to, in order to get into all of that Israelites and stuff like that, we got to come to a truth of that there is a spirit of truth that roams in the earth. We got to come to that agreement, because once we come to that agreement, that's when we'll begin to see things, and the things that we've heard so far, it wouldn't even be like a thing, because he can guide and lead us into a knowledge and wisdom that can't be hidden. It can't be hidden, because a spirit can go anywhere and wherever it wants. So once we start agreeing with ourselves that there is a spirit of truth, then you know but that's the only thing I have to go by, that John said he saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And the only thing I'm saying is, I know on television I've seen images of the holy city. You can Google it. You can do all those things, but I've never been there personally. And as I heard about Jerusalem as a boy, it being preached to me and all these things, I've never had a desire to go to Jerusalem. I just ain't. But I just think it's mind blowing to know that out of all the earth is full of cities. The earth is full of towns, countrysides, everything, and it's people in all of them. But the Bible only focuses on one, and that's Jerusalem. Maybe because the Bible talks about a war to happen that could possibly, or say, when you see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place that was spoken by Daniel. So when those things occur, there might not be a city anymore. Who knows? Allegedly, I don't know, but I'm just saying that the Bible mentions Jerusalem coming down. That's what he saw. I mean, um, it was only in his intent to see to say that. Maybe that's all he saw. I don't know, but full of secrets. Whether it's secrets or not, Bean, I don't know. Only thing I know is this is all we got to go by. and until the truth unveil itself. I mean, there's a lot out there. And I know, like I said, I understand that this book was written by 50 scholars, and the intent to impress and intent to impress King James. That's all we got, right? That's all we know. I mean, we can actually look that up. That's not a secret. It's not a secret because we can look it up. And that's what it says. That's exactly what it tells us. You know, to impress King James and dedicate it. And it was dedicated for King James. And I'm telling y'all, if y'all could have saw the look on my face when I seen that for the first time, it really blew my it blew my mind. I said, all this time, I thought that this was dedicated to God. I thought this Bible was dedicated to Him. So how messed up? How messed up did you think I was when I found that out for the first time? Right? How bad off did you think I was when I analyzed that for the first time? I mean, you can't make it up. You cannot make it up. So we have looked at Revelations. I wanted to get back into Exodus, but I couldn't. I had to follow the leader, and I wanted us to really look intently on Matthew 24 and really what it says, and then go out through the Bible and see other things that captured the moment. And for Paul to say what he says, let's read that again. Colossians, First Colossians 22. Let's look at that again. And once again, if we was at a round table and reading this out loud, I would love to see people's posture. I would love to see the look on your face when you analyze stuff like this. Maybe you've seen it before and you just said, huh, you just had one of those, huh, like it's no big deal. Colossians 1 and 23. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled. And B, see, now, now let's grab on to the horse reins as we take this ride, right? First is saying if you continue in the faith, right? It's all about the belief system. That's one thing. Then it says be grounded and settled. So if one is grounded and settled, what that mean? They're not all over the place. Can't be all over the place. And be not moved away from the hope of the gospel. Let's look up that word hope. We hear that a lot in Bible, don't we? Hope. Man, I hope my wife cook me a lasagna soon. Man, I hope when I go to the I hope when I go to the gas station, those prices are not gouged. I hope they got my dog food that she likes to eat at the grocery store. I hope we get a good rain tonight. You see where I'm going at with it? Hope, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. Let me read that again. A feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. He looked through her belongings in the hope of coming across some information. Now, ain't it Jesus that said in the Bible, search the scriptures, for in them you think you find eternal life? You think ye may find eternal life? So this whole ordeal, family and friends, we have to hope that all of this is for us. You say, well, you're reaching now, JB. Why? Why am I reaching? What did it say? If ye continue in the faith, in the belief system, grounded and settled, not all over the place, just stand with this book. Because, for one, we didn't hear nothing that Paul preached. Now, uh, we heard him break down a situation of who he was and where he was from, about him being Roman and all of these things, when it was that time of them to uh, put charges against him, right? When they was taking him from place to place, when the law was taking him from place to place, he was being put in front of kings and things of that nature. We understood that. I mean, we heard all of those things, but pertaining to him preaching to the people, we could positively say we didn't get none of that. Just like when Jesus went in the temple and it says he preached the gospel, we didn't get none of that. But I think I'm more understanding Matthew 24 and 1 through 14. Now he's saying that when this gospel of the kingdom is preached to all the earth. So not an assumption, but can you say by Bible reading that that's what he was teaching in the temple? Matthew 24, 1 through 14. Because I mean, any other place, only thing it says, he preached the gospel. And y'all know at the beginning of when I first started this channel, I would always say it says that, but as a reader, it was hurting my feelings because I wanted to hear what he was preaching to the people. Right? I wanted to hear what he was saying to the people. But that's hope. Hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. So that's what we have to do throughout our journey is hope. A lot of people have left is unalive today and buried, carrying and knew about this book deeply. I mean, deeply knew about this book and died in hope. Now the promise, if we know our Bible and understand then we can understand what JB is saying. But in hope, the promise was given to Abraham. The promise was given to Isaac, and the promise was given to Jacob. Right? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Those, the God of our, what did the Bible say? The God of our fathers. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The promise was given to them. In a profound way. In a way to where the Bible illustrates that they heard it. Abraham heard the voice of God plain. Isaac heard the voice of God plain. Jacob wrestled with an angel all night and wouldn't let him go until he blessed him. That's plain. So you say, well, where you get what you're getting at, JB? I'm getting at the fact of those three was given a promise. We are given hope. We are to hope. Because according to Colossians 1:23, now you can tell yourself, he's giving us a false doctrine. You can say that easily, but if you're reading this Bible with me, we're going toe to toe. We just real deep in it. We're just real deep in it. We are given hope, not moved. 23, Colossians 1:23, not moved away from the hope of the gospel, the hope of it, the sound of it, the hope, the ingredients of it, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven. Now, somebody would have 100 and some people right there in front of them, and would teach this as if it happened, as if it was said to, like Paul said this today. No, he did not. Paul said this centuries ago, that the gospel was preached unto every creature under heaven. The same thing Jesus told the disciples to do when he ascended to heaven. To what? Give the gospel to every creature. Paul said it already happened. How do we miss that? Each Sunday, each Saturday, whenever we assemble, which I think, me personally, I think that word, when they say assemble yourselves together, I think it's like a bicycle. Assemble yourselves together. Make sure that you got your shield on. You make sure you got the whole armor of God on. Because we can go to a synagogue, every time it open, but don't mean we understand and know Bible. Or we get into thoroughness and the richness and the ingredients we need in Bible. That's what I believe. But 23 is, Colossians 1:23 is very, very stout. Paul says centuries ago that the gospel was preached to every creature under heaven. Now, if I'm talking to someone that's, like a Bible theologian or something like that, they will easily tell me, why you just don't read the whole Bible. I believe when that occurs, that means that they got in their feelings about something. Or if I read this presentation, they'll say, "Well, keep on reading." Why do I have to keep on reading? I can't get past 23. Paul's saying centuries ago that the gospel was preached to all creatures under heaven. Let me cut my light back on. I thought I was about to end this, but I tell you what, the spirit man saying, keep going. Whoever's on here now might not be getting this, but there's going to be somebody on here that later on that's going to be hungry and thirsty. Mark 16 and 16. 16, 15. Mark 16, chapter 16, verse 15 says, and he said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Paul says it's already happened. Paul says in Colossians, Paul says in Colossians 1:23, it's already happened. don't you just find that amazing? What I'm saying is, you saying, JB, what's the point, man, of being on here an hour and 30 some minutes? What is your point? My point is, Jesus says in Mark 16:15, and said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach this gospel to every creature. We go to Colossians 1:23. Paul says it's already happened, that the gospel has been preached to every creature under heaven. And I'm saying, Paul says it's happened, but nothing happened. Time still remains. So Paul's saying that the gospel has been preached unto all creatures under heaven. They didn't get any of Matthew 24, 1-14. When this gospel of the kingdom is preached into all the world and a witness to all nations, this wouldn't the end of come. But I know some would say this. He's giving us a false narrative. JB is giving us a false narrative. I know it's coming. But how is that when we talking, but when we sharing Bible? Truth don't never sound right. Truth always sound like it's a lemon presenting itself as an orange, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It always seemed that way. But truth is truth. I've had people that's visit this channel tell me that they enjoyed the message, or however they word it, and I'm flattered. Like I've always said, I know there's a God that sits high above this firmament. Um, but I'm in my mental, I'm so amazed that that they would say that. But I'm like, are you really listening to what the Bible's saying? Because if we're listening to really what the Bible's saying, it should hurt your heart a little bit that you're amazed or you enjoyed this. Because uh, I mean, I'm doing this to pull the wall. I'm doing this to pull the curtain off windows so we can see some things. You know what Jesus said? He didn't come to send peace to the earth, but a sword. That's what this channel came for. Same thing. Get down to the nitty gritty. Get down to the bottom of things. So this is what we should eat on tonight, because I want to be back on tomorrow. Hopefully at 10. Tomorrow's my birthday. Hopefully my wife, she'll allow me to be on tomorrow. She might have things to do. But hopefully I want to be on 10. I want to be on at 10. And get back into Exodus for a little bit. But man, this is something to chew on. This is that thick part of that gristle that be on steak. Even though you season it real good, you flip it and you let it sit on the grill for a while. The meat is just right, but you got that gristle. Gotta eat all of it. We have got to eat all of it. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel unto every creature. Salute. Salute. Salute to you as well. But yeah, it's just, man, it's like like that bow and arrow, man. Oh, this is deep. It's really deep. I'm gonna be chewing on this a little bit tonight. I'm gonna share it with my wife too as well, so she can see it. I'm like, like Moses in the Bible, when God shares something with him, he rushed to his wife and tell her. I'm the same way. God showed me something, I go tell her. And she'll know it. She know what I'm about to talk about because she have the remote or she got her phone, and she'll turn either device off and be like, I'm listening. She know I got to talk about it. I have got to talk about it. And I try not to be long-winded, but I get so excited. So let's see. First, I want to let's see here if I can find it. My disclaimer got taken off my laptop. I might have did it. Let's see. Maybe I can find it. Just hang in there. We got some unknown files today. If I can't find this one, I just go to my Probably won't let me play it. No, it won't. I go to my camera and use that one. If it'll let me. Hold on just a second, please. Place right here. Yeah, I want to share my copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of copyright. This is for entertainment purposes only, educational, entertainment purposes only. Okay. Okay, now that we've seen that, now let's get to these unknown files. Hope you're excited. I am. Takes a lot of time to do these, but let's get it in on the Saturday night. Here we go.
It is like all forms of government.
But somebody must rule.
And I don't like the word rule.
Well, if we don't like the word rule, let's call it leadership.
Leadership in government is political power, and political power is an official form of antagonizing the people.
What magazine did you say he edits?
A commentary on current events.
Pardon me, Ambassador. But, my dear young man, politics are necessary.
Politics are rules imposed upon the people.
In this country, rules are not imposed. They are the wish of all free citizens.
Travel around a bit, then you'll see how free they are.
Yes, but you didn't let me finish.
They have every man in a straitjacket, and without a passport, he can't move a toe.
But if you'll allow me to...
In a free world, they violate the natural rights of every citizen.
But you don't let me fully...
They have become the weapons of political despots.
Yes, but may I...
And if you don't think as they think, you're deprived of your passport.
Will you allow me
to leave a country is like breaking out of jail.
Yes,
and to enter a country is like going through the eye of a needle.
But
am I free to travel?
Of course you're free to travel.
Only with a passport.
Will you allow me to say something?
Only with a passport. Do animals need passports?
Have you finished?
It's in Congress that in this atomic age of speed, we are shut in and shut out by passports.
If you'll shut up and let somebody else talk...
And free speech, does that exist?
No, you've got it all.
And free enterprise.
We were talking of passports.
Today it's all monopoly.
All right. Now will you...
Can I go into the automobile business and compete with the auto trust?
If I can get in a word...
Not a chance. Can I go into the grocery business and compete with the chain stores?
Will you shut up?
Not a chance.
He said, not a chance. Not a chance, y'all. I mean, I wouldn't ask the child to talk to an adult that way, but I mean, he's trying to make his truth clear.
Body bags and massive containers and refrigerated trucks on the other side of the island right now. The government's trying to blame them. They didn't sound a siren. There was no helicopters that came. People had gone and picked their kids up from school and brought them home and left them home. There was a 10-year-old girl with a crib with a baby in it. There was no warning. No military came. The whole community is mourning the deaths of over 1,500 people. They killed innocent men, women, and children by not helping, by not sounding alarms. People were asleep in their homes with their babies and their children.
Do you want to expand upon that?
So what I've heard is that they pulled the water out of the pipes to fight the fires, and then they put the water back in the pipes or from some other source, and now it's toxic.
Woo! We got a little bit of information. Stay tuned. Got some good information tonight. You know, all of this is alleged information, but
how did that not disappear? If this melted, how did that cone not completely disappear? Because if you look at this vehicle, and I want you to notice the burn, the amount of grass, as you can see, that burned in the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel, and you can see a small little small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet, when you turn and look right in this direction, besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this out to the world through the YouTube algorithm. This is a tire that is gone. These are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see that it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield.
It's burnt. There was a very hot heat, to do that car like that.
That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. We have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
It just dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire that did not come from this direction? Because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see there's even some grass over here that's still standing. It's not even been burned. So even down below, directly below this, you can see some wood fence posts that were burned, but you can see all that grass is still good. So how do you get this car this hot? In the comments section, I need to hear from you guys. Honestly, I need you here in the comments section. There's some smart people, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some intelligent people out there that understand physics, science, melting points, not the nonsense people. We need to just silence the nonsense for a moment. We need some real scientists, some real professors around the world to check in right now and help us understand what phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it's an anomaly or whatever you want to call that word.
Right, but this is just one vehicle. This is what we're seeing in all.
Oh, there's the window down there in the middle.
Where's the window?
Down in the crack.
Oh, you can see the melted window down in the crack.
It just dripped down in there.
It's just dripped into the, you can see.
Man.
We need to get our people back home. I just came from a meeting run by the governor. All these developers were talking about forget the permit process. We're gonna build homes, not in Lahaina, and make these homes available. You know what the truth of that is? They were like fast track their development. And they're not fucking helping the people over here. There was not one conversation in this meeting about the people. Every conversation that was had, every developer that came up there and talked about what they could offer was about getting rid of the permits so that they can steal water from our streams, they can fucking fast track westernization development, and forget about the culture and place. That's gonna be our hardest journey in this long road to recovery.
All alleged, guys. Entertainment purposes only.
We've been receiving call after call of people who are being asked to be evicted by their landlords. People who are being displaced during a time of emergency when their house was like the only house standing in their neighborhood, simply because the owner of the house realized that their investment is no longer a sound investment.
Why are people getting evicted if their homes didn't burn? Well, this is interesting. Less than a month before the fire, the Democrat governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, signed an emergency proclamation concerning Hawaiian real estate.
To my knowledge, this was the first emergency proclamation in the country that didn't have a preceding incident. This was just, from my knowledge, was just to streamline development on Maui, and it is allocated all decision-making power to one person, the housing officer of the governor, Nani Medeiros, who's unelected, who can trump every single thing that you do. They're meeting with developers, private landowners, and not a lot of community.
Maui residents say this is highly suspicious. The emergency housing proclamation was declared weeks before the actual emergency created a housing emergency. This emergency proclamation has been described as a gift to developers. The residents are apoplectic because of all the emergency powers. They go to a housing czar, and residents get no say. Now the residents think developers, government officials, and all those billionaires have bought up land in Hawaii. Like Zuckerberg, Oprah, Bezos are going to take advantage of the devastation.
We busted our and this is what we get. Nobody called us. Our phones didn't work from 5 in the morning. The fire was not 10 o'clock when I went to work. The fire was still there. There was no water. Tell me if that's coincidence. No water, no warning. And everybody talking about the satellite city before the fire. Lahaina going to be the first satellite city. Well, hey, Jeff Bezos, you got what you wanted. Oprah, you got what you wanted. And the guy who owns the nut, you got what you wanted.
Seems like somebody's very upset about what's really going on.
Because I've seen a lot of videos of people that are actually there that are not adding up with anything that the media is saying. Apparently the media has death tolls somewhere around 100 people, but people that are in Maui are saying it's well over 1,000. Apparently FEMA and the Red Cross are there, but they're doing nothing. They're apparently withholding supplies from people. And the only way that you can be assured that if you send something that people will get it is if you go through private organizations. Then I was told of a pledge that they are going to turn Maui into a 15-minute city, completely green and run by AI. And even my conspiracy brain was a little bit like, that's a hard pill to swallow. And then I did some research. So is this just a way to instrument this faster? And would the government really take out its own people? I mean, I do find it awfully strange that there's lots and lots of mansions there that were completely untouched in all of this. And we can find a granny who walked through the Capitol on January 6th, but we can't figure out how this fire started. Peculiar. Not to mention that the current police chief in Maui is the ex-police chief from the 2017 mass shooting in Las Vegas. And Biden has no comment and no plan of going there. Starting to look really similar to Palestine, Ohio, how we reacted to that. So I don't know what's truly going on there, but it's reprehensible. They need our help and prayers.
What's really going on? Unknown files.
circulating the internet of how they weren't affected by the flames when things around them was burnt. And this video from Laser versus showing different colors reactions and how blue isn't affected. This is for general purposes only, with some people claiming that blue repels radio frequency, and how blue painted objects didn't burn down, with the Simpsons blue umbrella scene, with conspiracies claiming that it's either aliens or laser devices or Russia who did this allegedly. But the Hawaii Fire Science Program Coordinator at Hawaii Community College made a statement about this and said, "There is no reason the color blue has anything to do with wildland fire behavior. Wildland fires do not burn in a consistent manner, but in a mosaic pattern. The blue umbrellas may have been treated with a substance that prevented embers from igniting them. There were unburned structures surrounded by burned structures. And it was stated by them that the fire started from bare power lines, not laser or aliens targeting us or Russia. But what do you think about this? Is this a coincidence? May all the people that lost their lives in these tragic fires be rest in peace."
What you guys think? What you think about it? Got the unknown files.
Burning down. A lot of things that are blue, for some reason, stood the test of the fire. The blue boat was the boat that survived. You got this blue car, and these homes had blue in it. I mean, it gets weird. This is the home from Hurricane Dora that survived, and the owner name was Dora. That little blue car right there. You'll see a lot of this blue imagery. This is another blue house. This one's painted blue. This is right here. Blue survived it. The cloth. The boat that survived in the ocean, and these are all just the mainstream articles showing us. The boat was blue. The car that survived, right, it's still blue. I mean, this is what they showed in the mainstream news. And shout out to my friend, Dana. She pointed this out. This is pattern recognition. And all the people that they show after the devastation are wearing blue. This is where it got weird, and it kind of took a turn for me, where I'm like, there's some type of color symbolism happening here. This fire right here, this blue, survived it, cut it off from the blue. Right here where the 47 trunk banyan tree survived. You got this like little blue house, restroom that survived. Here's ABC News, the guy in the blue. This girl cleaning is wearing the blue. Good Morning America, this guy's wearing the blue. Just weird. Symbolism, burnt, but this guy's carrying something blue. So everybody that they're showing in these pictures are wearing blue, so some sort of code. It's
And roofs are in China and South Korea. Did we not get the memo? Don't take my word for it.
Showing had to cut the volume off. Copyright. Showing you all that blue in the around the area in Maui, all the blue that didn't get harmed, allegedly. Educational purposes only, entertainment only. So yes, it's a lot going on.
We remain in a very dark winter. The country is still in a crisis, and there's a dark winter still ahead. Yet we're about to go into a dark winter. A dark winter. We are looking at a winter of severe illness and death.
He spoke of a dark winter like 5 times, y'all. And usually this how it works. When they keep saying certain phrases over and over, they're warning y'all of what's to come. That's programming y'all. They're trying to tell y'all what's to come. And right now, with all these events in the weather, it looked like this was the dark winter that he was referring to the whole time. But hey, I don't know anything in TikTok. I'm just talking. That's all. That's all.
He's just talking. He says, do y'all agree with what he just said? Or where you at with it?
Lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts.
For the ones who believe the news, there you go.
And there you have it, guys. The unknown files. Thank Lucy Bean for stopping by. Thank Amber's Truth for stopping by. Excuse me. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world today, down here in this portal, but you chose to stop by the Heart of a Poets channel. It's heartfelt. Thank you. Be prayerful always. Always stay vigilant. Keep holy hands up wherever you are. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.